Look what arrived in the mail today. All Our Brothers, The Battle of Solferino, 1859, game design Brian Armour. It's on the Second Italian War of Independence from Legion Games. Now, this is part of the blind swords system that was designed by Herman Luttman. Back in 2013, Herman published or had the game Duel of Eagles published, and it was on the Battle of Mars-Latour, and it proved to be quite popular. It went on to spawn numerous Civil War regimental games that had been published by Revolution Games. GMT would go on to print At Any Cost Metz, which was Gravelot as well as Metz and Mars-Latour, and it was a one map, 22 by 34 map by GMT Games. And in 2016, when I first got into playing the blind sword system, I saw that Legion Wargames was going to cover the Battle of Solferino, and I pre-ordered it with them. Well, here we are 8 years later, and it's finally arrived in the mail. And I'm just going to pause this for a second because my cat is into something. So as I was saying, this arrived in the mail today. It took almost 3 weeks to get here. And the beautiful thing was tariff-free. I was so afraid I was going to get nailed by Canada Customs at the border, and I have to pay another 25% on top of what I already paid for this in American dollars. So anyways, let's take a look in. By the way, this is a very nice touch from Legion Wargames. Thank you from Jody and Randy. Good luck with your dice rolls. And it included a copy of their catalog. And on their catalog, let's take a quick look and see if it's still on here. No, I don't see Prairie of Flame on there anymore. Prairie of Flame was designed by my friend Mark Woloshin, and it was first published by, it's been published by Legion Wargames. Anyhow, I'm going to put some pause and let's take a look inside and see what's in the box. First of all, I got to say, this is very well packaged. It's a nice, sturdy little box. So you got the dice that you're going to need to play the game, and I see they include some plastic baggies for the counters. I had a chance to read the rules, which Legion published online. A very nice set of rules. Beautiful color. And it does not, while it is glossy, it's not overly glossy. So that is great. Rules are very well laid out. I don't know what they have. Yeah, they do have some examples to play. In terms of length, the rules have 18 sections, and page 2 all the way through to page 20 on the back, of which basically, yeah, I mean, you've got some designer's notes, some optional rules, the rally step, and I believe, yep, so there's a second. So basically 20 pages of rules, and then you have this beautiful scenario booklet. I mean, just look at the color on that. That is amazing. And it looks like you've got there's a few scenarios in here. It's got the explanation of the event chits description chart, which is what I love about the blind sword system. They had a whole level of chaos that I think is missing in most games. Yeah, nicely laid out. Once again, gloss, but it's not overly glossy. Scenarios. So let's see. San Martino is for one scenario. You got the Heights of Solferino for another scenario. And then we have Campo di Medole as another scenario. That's 3. And then we have the Grand Campaign, All Our Brothers, The Battle of Solferino. So a total of 4 scenarios, three moderately length scenarios. I'm sure one's an introduction, and the Grand Campaign. And then you've got these counters. Oh, they're on a nice gauge of cardboard or paper. Anyways, beautiful, absolutely beautiful color. Just look at the detail on that. And that is just phenomenal. And of course, you'll have the various stats on the counter. I've got to go through the rules again because this will be slightly different from the regimental system. But I got through the rules. They were a pretty easy read. So then here's a second counter sheet. These look to be why those are upside down. This looked to be the Italians and the Sardinians. I guess the yellow guys are the Austrians. And you got your event chits. Nice, interesting choice of graphics. You got some core morale markers. Okay. And then you have the map. Let me put this in pause. Yeah, just a standard 22 by 34 map. All Our Brothers, the Battle of Solferino, 1859. Map and art by Edmund Hudson, and the game design by Brian Armour. And, well, it's not a Rick Barber, because unfortunately Rick is no longer with us. It's a nice looking map. It's not garish. It's nice and subtle, so that the map won't, and of course, my goddamn cat, get out of that! Sorry, I should have put my cat in another room, but that wouldn't have stopped her. But no, it's a nice, easy looking map. It's easy on the eyes. It looks to be very easy to figure out the various terrain. And there's Solferino. And you got Medole over here. And yeah. Oh. Castiglione. That's from the Napoleonic battles that took place in Italy a little earlier in the century. Cool. It's a nice gauge paper. And yeah, and the map is more of a matte finish, so it's not going to be hard on the eyes. And then, of course, you have your setup charts. You've got the French and Sardinian setup chart. Wow, that's huge, and it's going to take up some room. And single-sided. Then you've got the Austrian setup chart. But it's nice and easy to read. So for those of us that wear glasses or whose eyes are getting a little older, this is definitely a plus. It's a force multiplier, so to speak. So you can figure out what's what. And then, what do we have? We got our terrain. We have our terrain effects chart. Single-sided. So there's the terrain effects chart explaining the various terrain that's on the map. It's got the elevation. Cool. The assault combat table, single-sided, and there's 2 of those included. 2 of those. This is a funky-looking turn record track, game turn and morale core track. Okay, because yeah, in this game you have to keep track of the core morale so that your army doesn't break. Interesting. And then you've got 2 force display charts. Broken box, event chit box, France, Sardinia. Okay, so this is obviously maybe to help with stacking of the map, perhaps. I'm sure the rules will explain that. And then, of course, you have 1 event description chart, whereas in the regimental series that Revolution Games puts out, typically each player will have their own copy of the event chart and their own copy of the combat charts. That'll be easy to remedy, though. And then, lastly, what's this? In the bottom of the box. One sec. It's just a plain piece of paper to line the box. Well, I gotta say, I'm very impressed with how the game looks. Yeah, so there you have my unboxing of All Our Brothers, the Battle of Solferino 1859, the Second Italian War of Independence, from Legion Games, game designed by Brian Armour. Beautiful looking package. I think this is worth the wait. As my friends know, I quite love the blind sword system. I love the element of chaos it introduces, and I can't wait to get this to the table, because I actually haven't played at any cost Metz yet, because I've been so busy trying to get through my Civil War games. But I think this will get on the table at BottisCon Spring, which is coming up in June. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. It's Rob Bottis. Take care. Signing out.